SYFY Wire knows that for movie freaks, there was no greater mecca than the video store. Remember those?
Viva Video and Ardmore.
Lucky for us, there are still some champions out there keeping video store magic alive. To celebrate the movies you love and introduce you guys to some classics you may not already know, we've come here to Viva Video for a SYFY Wire Midnight Rewind. I am so pumped SYFY Wire sent me out here to Viva Video for tonight's screening.
The people who make movies are using artificial technical processes to create imagery to manipulate your mind. Movies are just a trick of light and motion. Reprogram your way of thinking. A false reality is constructed through the light. All the business people you see in movies are pretending to be business people in order to get you to empathize with business people. They show us images of the Smurfs, but it is not the Smurfs.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
We're here to watch They Live and chew bubblegum, so naturally, there's plenty of bubblegum. Who's ready to watch They Live?
Back to the top, one more time.
Here we go. Set. Background. Here we go. And action.
I never would have imagined that at the age of 72, I would be watching slasher films.
I would never have imagined it either.
For movie lovers like us, there was no better destination than the video store. Remember walking the stacks to pick out new titles? Talking about movies with the clerks who were just the right kind of nerds and discovering a whole world of films you never knew you loved? What if I told you that a place like that still exists just the way you want it to?
Welcome to Viva Video, the last picture store. Viva Video and Ardmore.
I can't explain it as anything other than a nerd den.
When we close the doors at night, the magic starts. We love screening and celebrating our favorite films with other movie lovers like you.
This store has opened up a whole new world, films that I never would have encountered otherwise.
That's what we do. We hang around, we talk about movies. That's what nerds do.
So guys, we're gonna be showing House. This is a movie that's basically about a few young girls going to go visit their aunt. Turns out the house is haunted. Sounds like a horror movie, but honestly the movie is so creative and far too bizarre to really be pigeonholed into just a scary movie.
House is one of the most incredible movies ever made.
The poster's in our living room.
That's how much we love this movie.
Yeah.
What I first zone in on is the visuals. A couple minutes in, you got people jumping sideways into the frame. I feel like at every turn, the director was like, you know, go for it. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this.
It's like the director
awesome.
just like turning a kaleidoscope.
I've wanted to see it. It's been on my list for like 15 years.
Awesome.
Amazing and psychedelic and awesome and crazy and unexplainable. Just a fun time had by all.
So important to see it with an audience.
I just never got to it, and I'm so glad because this seems like the perfect place
this is
to see
unbelievable. We've got everything you need to celebrate a movie like House. We've got Steph over here selling the swag. We've got Dan, he's serving up concessions, getting your popcorn and such. Bryan, he's working the phone. Somebody's got to keep business running. And Susan, she's guarding the porn room. Oh, and I don't think I mentioned this yet, but there's karaoke too. All right, guys, come on. My brain has spilled out in a way that I didn't know was there, and I can watch House with celebration that is deserved and necessary for this movie. What movement with your body would express how good House is? There we go. I think with that, I'm pretty ready. I'm ready to watch out!
Maybe your enthusiasm is why I've avoided watching it for 10 years.
You know, I figure it's been too close in front of your face every day, seeing the poster.
And
every
the
day
t-shirts.
you come to work, the t-shirt that I wear on occasion.
Every time I come in the shop, people are talking about it, and I have to walk away and go, la 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 la. At this point, I've heard enough that I can stitch together ideas of how crazy it's going to be. I know that someone walks into a refrigerator at some point, and I'm good with that.
I think you're good with that.
As everyone well knows, I have not seen House, but there are a few films I suspect will be as insane as House. Primary of which is Takashi Miike's Happiness of the Katakuris. I mean, what can you say with a movie that starts with claymation, quickly goes into dance numbers, involves an erupting volcano, and criminals on the loose in a house run by this delightful family that's straight out of a Japanese version of Sound of Music. So if House is as insane, I'll be very impressed. I know, you're gonna edit me, I know how this works.
No, we're using all of this unedited.
This is just going to be a really interesting show.
So what do you guys know about House, out of curiosity?
I know there's a cat.
Couple things I love in House. There's a cat. The cat is the best. I love cats in real life. I love the cat in House. Some people might not remember this bad boy in House, right here. I guess in this case, bad girl. At the noodle stand, in the background, you will see a bear.
Wow.
Never explained, but it's the best. Let's don our masks here.
Oh, it smells awful. I'm asphyxiated. Get me out of here.
So one of our most adventurous customers is Susan.
I'm so excited for House. I've seen it twice before, and this is gonna be the ultimate experience of House.
She's got an art history degree, she's adventurous, she's film knowledgeable.
For me, this store has opened up a whole new world, films that I never would have encountered otherwise.
She was not interested in horror movies at all.
I was afraid of horror films because I thought creepy things were under my bed and in my closet.
That's the best way to watch horror
I
films.
had terrible nightmares, and so I didn't dare go there. But you were very clever. Because you seduced me slowly into wonderful horror
seeing
films.
the cool stuff that's
yes,
out there.
because you knew I was sort of academically teacher-oriented.
Definitely.
So the first horror film you thought to show me was Pontypool.
Pontypool was the first one. That's a good choice for showing you.
Pontypool was a very good movie for a teacher because it is all about language, and language as a virus that infects people if you don't use it in the correct way.
I like to think of it if Jacques Derrida wrote a zombie
That's
movie.
right. And you started me with that, and even though it's a zombie movie, it worked perfectly.
Awesome.
And then I got more and more daring. I live in a retirement community, and people look at me as if, what's happened to
All the
her?
screams they hear from your apartment, just terrifying them. All right, guys, it is time. I'm not gonna look directly at Bryan because I'm curious to hear how this is all gonna go, but we're gonna start it now. So for me, House remains the only movie I've seen unsubtitled the whole way through without knowing the language, because that's how I first came across it. Oh yeah, whole way through watched it, loved it. Abraham has a particular history with me with this movie being the man that found me the subtitles.
今、私たちはまた陸上航空機の気温のビデオ。
I got to see it with the director and his daughter.
Who signed our poster?
I've shown it to Ash, watched it multiple times.
The first time I saw House, I thought it was definitely the zaniest movie I ever saw.
He has loved House and a lot of other movies, and you can read subtitles fast enough that now we can enjoy
that's true.
so many
That was
movies.
probably
That was a big part.
That was a big part of it.
Wasn't there a time afterwards where he felt that foreign films were the only movies of interest?
Not the only movie, but his favorite genre was subtitled films.
Yeah.
House in my house is the movie we watch as a family. Ash, who's 8, for a time it was his favorite movie. I don't know if I'm doing him a service or a disservice also by showing him. What is his understanding of cinema gonna be? Where House is just a normal movie that you watch.
Where is he gonna go from here?
At a certain age, House is pretty awesome for that in that you're not surprised by things being outside of whatever the form of movie is. You're able to shift with it. You're so plastic, everything can make sense to you in some way. But so watching it with him was just, it's awesome.
Good morning, and fish were made to swim in the sea.
Absolutely.
I've been humming the song all week.
Did you like the song? Did you even remember the song?
I don't.
So when they did the song and they were going through the market before they went up to the horror house, I think the band was in the background because there were guys like in cut-off shorts and rock and roll hair.
As sure as cherries were made for eating and fish were made to swim in the sea, you were made to be loved a lot by nobody else but me, by nobody else but me, by nobody else but me. I see in your eyes where tomorrow is hiding in my heart. There's a bell ringing loud at the touch of your lips. Down the rainbow, I'm sliding. Little arrows keep falling as thick as a cloud. As sure as cherries were made for eating and fish were made to swim in the sea, you were made to be loved a lot by nobody else but me, by nobody else but me, by nobody else but me. Each time you appear, I hear nightingales singing like as loud as a rock and roll band. They're delighted I'm bringing a box with a ring. It's a solitaire diamond design for your hand. For sure as cherries were made for eating and fish were made to swim in the sea, you were made to be loved a lot by nobody else but me, by nobody else but me, by nobody else but me. And sure as cherries were made for eating and fish were made to swim in the sea, you were made to be loved a lot by nobody else but me, by nobody else but me, by nobody else but me.
Who's up next? Who's up next?
I can trace it back to one moment in my life why this story's here. So when I was about 4, had a nanny that was too scared by Nightmare on Elm Street. It came on the TV. She's like, yo, too much. I'm gonna go. You chill here, watch Nightmare on Elm Street, no big deal. From that moment on, I knew just how powerful a movie could be because I was terrified. But it made me obsessed with movies.
She abandoned you to watch it on your lonesome. That is insane.
And my poor mom, like I'd explain it to her after, I was like, she was trying to chill me out about it. I was like, no, he gets you in your dreams. You can't help me. You can't help me. And I was like, you think about Freddy too much. You think about Freddy too much. I mean, we're both kind of right on this one. Because like, if somebody is telling you that you're thinking about Freddy too much, like there's no way that's not a little bit true.
The third one. You took me to see. Wait, when I was 4, you took me to see the third one in the theater when I was, I think, Ash's age.
One of the reasons I love House is just that it's a movie that's perfectly content with being itself. It doesn't aspire to be like any other films. It just marches to the beat of its own drum. Best place to start with movies that try to be themselves. Seeding of a Ghost, a wonderful, heartwarming story of a lady who is murdered, and she comes back as an avenging corpse, and it tops itself in terms of the house craziness with one particular scene, which may be the greatest sex scene I've ever seen in any film. A corpse having sex with a apparition in the air. I am pretty much the go-to for recommending pornography from a certain era. I do have a penchant for 70s and 80s porn, particularly the alt porn from the New York scene. It has some sexual gymnastics going on in a zero gravity environment. It's really, really terrific, and it is thoroughly sui generis. Okay, so sui generis, basically a very ostentatious way of saying unique. Yeah.
So House, its story was written in part by the director asked his 11-year-old daughter what scared her, what she thought would happen next. And so the movie plays a bit like the stream of consciousness of an 11-year-old.
From what I was hearing about it, I thought it was going to be like so bad that it's good movies, because everyone's like, oh, it's so weird, and it's like written by an 11-year-old, and all the characters are like one-dimensional, but then you watch it, and it's actually like just amazing.
More people should ask their young daughters to give them movie ideas.
Absolutely, absolutely. I like every movie should be written, at least in part, by an 11-year-old girl. You know, 100%.
I am Mr. Gomez, and today we will be having a special guest, Miguel. Come on out, Miguel.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez, for that introduction. How's everybody doing? Good, because I need some help. We're gonna have a pretty important class here. You guys are gonna help me write my life story. So I started working at a video store in the late 90s, and in 2001, I finally made my own short films. In 2012, the video store that I worked at closed. My family and I now own our own video store, Viva Video. What do you think will happen next in my story?
He will be like an astronaut that made movies everywhere. Miguel made it rain quintuple cheeseburgers. He didn't share them. Since there's a lot of good ice cream shops in Ardmore, he's gonna go to all of them and buy ice cream. It's that simple. All the dolphins that he can find get to be his pets.
He became rich at the age 36 from becoming Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
If that is something that speaks to your heart as it does to mine, I would say you should watch the movie Hawk Jones, which is not written by children, but stars a cast entirely of children, about like 9 years old. It's a buddy cop movie made in Chicago by two brothers, who I think were only like 18 or 19 at the time when they made it. It is as fun, and it is just a blast, and one of those that when you watch, you're just astounded, like, how is this movie holding this level of entertainment for as long as it is, for what it is? You'd think you'd sort of get numb to it at some point, but you don't. Like, every time it's just thrilling to see what they're gonna throw at you next. It's so good. It's so, I can't even tell you. I feel like I have a lot of childlike glee in just in everything, but in watching movies in particular, and like getting to turn excitedly to see how Ash is going to react when the watermelon turns into a head and bites somebody on the butt.
That just made me laugh so hard every time I say it.
That's
It's
so
just
good.
the silliest thing, but it's so funny.
That's Ash's favorite part.
He made me rewind it. We watched it over and over. And he actually fell off the couch from laughing so hard.
It's so off the wall, and I love the off the wallness of it. And I think actually it has a lot of serious side to it too, which is interesting. A lot of Japanese films that were made nearer to World War II really have concerns about the devastation of that war for the Japanese. Also, it's a movie about a teenage girl whose mother has died and her father's remarrying, and it's very hard for her to accept a new mother. And so there's a lot of conflicted feelings with that teenager about women and marriage and love. And I think that's a very kind of serious.
Is that a big part of the draw for you for it?
Yeah, I really like that. And I like the combination of that more serious side with all the shenanigans.
House, it's hard to get yourself settled during the movie because suddenly a shot will be sideways. There will be a skeleton dancing in the background. Something will be stop motion animated so somebody can fall in a bucket and go down a flight of stairs. At no point are you firm on what the rules of the film are. If what you like about House is that feeling of anarchy, the no rules, like anything can happen type of aspect to it, I would point you toward Daisies, a Czech New Wave flick, 1966. It's like this feminist, sort of anarchist takedown of the man and society in 60s Czechoslovakia. That anarchy is more explicitly the subject matter of the movie, as these two women are going around trying to kind of dismantle society and just stick it to everybody. Both these movies are ones that play on the avant-garde side of films, but they're made so that you can absolutely enjoy them no matter who you are. So it's not just an art film for an art house crowd. They're definitely ones that seek to find that larger audience and seek to let you have fun also while you're seeing art rules be broken. For me, what attracts me to House of it is very much like the visual flair to it.
Yes.
You know, like it's made by a dude that made commercials for years and clearly brought that sort of, get people's attention in a few seconds type of thing.
Right.
But then makes a feature-length film out of it. And I feel like that, it doesn't look like anything else.
I love the kind of fake sunset. You feel as if you're not in real life, you're in some imaginary world.
One movie that I would recommend that sort of ties in because of its sort of visual flair would be the movie Suspiria from 1977. It's an Italian horror film that I just adore. It's tied for my #1 movie of all time. It uses a lot of fill lights to sort of make scenes totally blue or totally red. It kind of ramps up your emotional response to the horror of that movie. Suspiria is great for creating a feeling. So the music in it is just out of this world bonkers. It was made by this band Goblin that was a bit of a prog rock group. I think they played it super loud on set and everything to get everybody in the right zone. And for both House and Suspiria, it's one where you just sort of follow along on the ride and feel the colors, hear the music, and have that sort of all work together into a set of feelings that is awesome.
I had my first religious experience on the carpet of my nanny's house. A commercial for Ghostbusters, the movie, came on. I was 2.5, my brother was 4.5. But when we saw Stay Puft, Slimer, we heard the song, it was like seeing the face of God.
Bryan has a binder of every ticket stub that he's managed to hold on to since 1999.
Saw Ex Machina twice in 3 days. That was actually to correct a flaw in the way I was watching it.
But Dan was obsessive from, I forget what age, he's kept a notebook with every movie he's watched.
Yes.
Since you were 8, 9, how old?
9, it started on my 9th birthday, March 17th, 1999. The first movie I believe I logged in there may have been Night of the Hunter.
Night of the Hunter at that age?
I saw Night of the Hunter right around that, yeah.
I mean, honestly, this is our blood bond. We clearly all saw our favorite movies when we were way too young, and it turned us into video store clerks.
It did.
Brian's gonna come on up now.
Now, from the creator of Scanners.
Come to me.
Videodrome.
Videodrome bites.
Videodrome.
What are you waiting for, love? You're going insane. It turns me on. Videodrome. Videodrome.
Videodrome. Very realistic. First, it controls your mind. Then, it destroys your body. Deborah Harry, James Woods.
You let me watch?
Videodrome. A terrifying new weapon.
This is a normal part of my life. I go to a video store. Don't you?
For movie lovers like us, there was no better destination than the video store. Remember walking the stacks to pick out new titles? Talking about movies with the clerks who were just the right kind of nerds and discovering a whole world of films you never knew you loved? What if I told you that a place like that still exists just the way you want it to?
Welcome to Viva Video, the last picture store. So today, they live. It's, you know, maybe a John Carpenter flick that people forget. Veronica has not seen it yet.
I've only seen the thing.
It's one of those movies that, you know, I'd always been meaning to get to.
It's got some pretty awesome Reagan-era social commentary going on. It's got the world's longest fight scene. It's got, you know, awesome lines from a charismatic wrestler of the 80s.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
And it's just a lot of fun.
It's that kind of movie that's better seen with a crowd of people.
This is gonna be the way to see it. This is gonna be awesome. We've got everything you need to get stoked for a movie like They Live. We got They Live shirts, we got some swag, we got these beautiful meat lovers pizzas inspired by the look of the alien faces in They Live. That's Angie. She's given everybody their own They Live caricature. It's awesome. I don't think Veronica likes horror or sci-fi. Are you gonna get married and are you gonna reproduce? I'm already married. Oh, I mean, there's always time to go get. We came here to watch They Live and chew bubblegum, so we made sure to bring the bubblegum. I think this is what I'm happiest about. Specialized bubblegum. Are you guys John Carpenter fans?
Yes.
Yes?
Sure. Until 3 hours ago, I didn't know who John Carpenter was.
Oh my goodness.
I felt I probably didn't know enough about John Carpenter. And so in the last week, I managed to see 5 John Carpenter films, most of which I had not seen before. One that I completely forgot about because I think it's awful.
It's probably one of the more fundamental disagreements we've ever had, actually.
That's right. All those candles. They have to have a candle wrangler on this set. Some poor schnook is going to have to run around and light them all again. I mean, come on.
John Carpenter is very much a go for your throat, like, you know, like visceral sort of filmmaker. This one is definitely like a little bit more campy. So They Live is a 1988 film by John Carpenter based on a 1963 short story by Ray Nelson. It's about a drifter that comes into town. He believes with all his heart in America, but at every turn he's being put down by the man.
I deliver a hard day's work for my money. I just want the chance. It'll come.
He finds some sunglasses, which reveal to him the true nature of our world. That all of society is ruled by these alien overlords that have managed to take over the upper crust of society and inserted subliminal messages into everything to keep us under their control.
It figures it would be something like this.
Now it's up to Rowdy Roddy, with the help of Keith David, to take him down and wake the world up. I feel like it's one that, in all political climates, is gonna be pretty interesting.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely like a liberal 80s movie, but like, it's got that one-man army nature to it also, that like very Reagan, like the only way to solve this is you need a gun and you just kill them all. So it's like that weird mix.
I feel like that definitely sparks the debate of taking that movie on like a serious level, and you know, certainly it's a very entertaining film, but it's also a movie that wants to start a conversation to a certain extent.
We gave the steel companies a break when they needed it. Know what they gave themselves? Raises. They close one more factory, we should take a sledge to one of their fancy foreign cars.
So my friends, before we get to the movie, there is a serious debate that needs to be settled. What is it that makes They Live so great? So much fun? Coming up first, Associate Professor of the History of Science, we are gonna have Darren Hayton from Haverford College. Come on in, yeah, Darren! I hope you're prepared to take on our next champion of the screening room, Joe Moore.
Joe, you look amazing.
He's the biggest fan I know of this movie.
Do you know any other They Live fan that dresses like this every day?
You dress like this every day?
No.
Joe, are you excited to see it here?
Yeah, I'm so pumped for this
closeout.
closeout sale.
Actually, can you do that again? Let's see.
Yeah.
Just the closeout sale. No big deal. Just closeout sale. What's that? Closeout sale?
Yeah, just a closeout sale.
Oh. Joe, you brought your own stand?
Yes.
Who needs these degrees? You got a stand.
That's right. I don't even need the stand to talk. This is a weapon.
This is a weapon.
Just in case. Just in case.
This fight scene I hear is near and dear to your heart right now.
Absolutely.
Right? Darren, you'll be telling us why the political and social significance of They Live is what makes it a classic for us to watch.
Yes, and I hope to draw your attention to the way that in 1988, 1989, this movie had particular resonances that we couldn't have anticipated still being so viable and pertinent today.
Boo, stop it. Stop, boo. They're all booing. Those claps are boos. I heard them.
Those claps are boos. Are you going to use more than one syllable?
Maybe.
We got Bryan. Bryan has one of the loveliest items here.
I told our director that I did not want to make any political statements whatsoever, and he gave me this.
And he gave him that. My favorite of the signs I've seen so far, black text on white. This is Elyse. Elyse is awesome.
This is a normal part of my life. I go to Viva Video. I go to a video store. Don't you? The thing that I think about Viva is I go in to return a video and I go in and I'm like, if it's one of these two people, I'm gonna end up staying here for 20 minutes having a long conversation, a long, nerdy conversation.
And that's honestly the best part of our jobs. We have been renting to Elyse, I think, and her family since she was like 4 years old. Do you have any memories of renting stuff?
One actually. I rented a Twilight movie and I rented something sci-fi with my dad, but I was very embarrassed and I think I rented them from you when I came in to rent the Twilight movies. I am a teenage girl. Yes, I know there gets hate for this.
So you don't have to be embarrassed, dude. I mean, like, if that was your jam back then.
It was
then,
my
like,
jam for sure, yeah.
Judging movies, like, on their own merits or whatever, is definitely not an objective thing.
Yes. It's like, am I going to tell somebody to watch this? Like, that's a good movie.
I mean, you kind of look at the honesty of the intentions of They Live, and I mean, how well does it execute what it's trying to do? It is clearly trying to be like a fun science fiction movie with some cool action scenes to it.
It has an idea, a very concrete theme.
Right, and also give you something to think about, and it does all of those just seamlessly. Like, there's definitely nobody who's going to be saying, like, oh, you can't watch this is a bad movie. Like, people like that should die in a car fire.
Everybody, it is time! All right, everybody! Yeah! They live! You thought the time would never come. That this was entirely just a brainwashing session. I appreciate everybody's making this viewing of They Live as much fun as it is going to be. Folks that have not seen it, I'm excited for you. But so, guys, without further ado, we may enjoy They Live. Hooray!
They have blinded us to the truth.
This is a union job.
The name of the game is Make It Through Life.
Just living life is a crazy game. Make it through life is the name of the game.
Spin the spinner and make your move. See if you can make it through life.
I got a job! I got a new car!
It figures it would be something like this.
Everyone's looking out for themselves and looking to do you in at the same time. Beat them before they beat you.
I got a degree! My taxes are due again. I sued for damages and won!
I don't like this one bit. Not one bit.
Don't be such a negative Nancy. Just enjoy the game. I went on a dream vacation. I got a raise! I made it to retirement, so I win!
You can't see the truth, but it's right here, right in front of your face.
We all sell out every day. Might as well be on the winning team.
Conform, stay asleep, and do it their way. Make it through life if you obey.
Make It Through Life is available wherever you can buy products.
You know, you wouldn't think this would be date night. Date night at Viva Video. 2 on a date here.
Yes.
I'm sorry, not that you're a third wheel. You're gonna enjoy.
I thought it was the two of us.
That's the 2 of us. Oh, I'm sorry.
Most people who know Carpenter know he's a huge fan of Howard Hawks. The homosocial elements of Hawks' films, men on a mission or men working with men, the sort of, smartassery, badass loners, those elements I think do bleed their way into the Carpenter canon.
You get like the macho, sometimes like somewhat screw up dude that can go in and, right the wrongs in the world. That's definitely in like a lot of his stuff.
Have you seen Rio Bravo? Carpenter's very much influenced by Rio Bravo, the 1959 film by Howard Hawks.
You always keep that carbon cocked?
Only when I carry it.
Even Halloween itself is essentially a Western concept that's just put in suburbia. The ghost gunfighter coming back into town to wreak vengeance.
I don't see that at all, but okay. Next time I watch Halloween, that's going to be top of my list.
Our impulses are being redirected.
You talked a couple days ago about how you like his use of television screens in this movie.
I do. Those television screens kind of act like a Greek chorus. They almost comment on the action. I'm thinking about this in sort of meta terms. In other words, you're understanding that you're seeing a film within a film, and that throws you back.
The people who make movies are using artificial technical processes to create imagery to manipulate your mind. Movies are just a trick of light and motion. Reprogram your way of thinking. Even though the mind tells you that Rami Malek is Freddie Mercury, Rami Malek is not Freddie Mercury. The crazy rich Asians, while Asian, are neither crazy nor rich. A false reality is constructed through the light. All the business people you see in movies are pretending to be business people in order to get you to empathize with business people. They show us images of the Smurfs, but it is not the Smurfs.
They got some sort of cult up there. It ain't none of my business, ain't none of yours.
Much like They Live, the movie The Arrival with Charlie Sheen, not the one with Amy Adams. Charlie Sheen, crazy as you've never seen him before, plays a radio astronomer who believes that aliens are going to be invading us. And of course, everyone else thinks he's paranoid and insane, is trying to shut him down. Slowly but surely discovers that, in fact, there is a conspiracy regarding aliens and that they do, in fact, look like people. When I think about Charlie Sheen, I think about just like him burying his face in a mound of cocaine and then jumping into a bed with like 30 strippers. I don't think about him wearing glasses and looking at computer screens and trying to figure out where the alien signal's coming from. But that's what you get with The Arrival.
Down here, this is Ash. Ash has not seen it yet. He was not really allowed to see it. But do we have a plan for what we're gonna do in parts that are not quite appropriate?
In parts that are inappropriate, I'm gonna put on these sunglasses because they have tape over them.
They're blocked out. Looking cool, censoring it for the kids. It's gonna work out pretty smooth. All right, guys. What did you think of the first segment? How do you like? I hope that this is a crowd that likes delayed gratification. So far, you've gotten none of what we promised you. Are you engaged? Are you curious?
They're taking some time to really lay the groundwork.
Roddy Piper's super shady. He's following this dude from work to a shanty town.
I think that if I were seeing this in the theater and the power went out right about 10 minutes ago, I may not have come back. But now I think I would definitely
But
go
luckily
back.
the power went out 10 minutes after that point. You just wanted to see a shanty town.
Yeah,
get
I
wrecked.
did.
One of the greatest things that we love about Elyse is that she does cosplay for movies. So if she rents like Lord of the Rings, the next time she comes in, she could be dressed as Legolas. Is there a favorite one of those, or like?
Wow, this is where the cosplayer comes out in full force. Lord of the Rings with Legolas, X-Men First Class, Charles Xavier cosplay, which still is in the works. I did a very casual cosplay of Poe Dameron once. Of course, nobody noticed, and I was like, I'm doing that stealth cosplay thing of a person who's doing a stealth cosplay, in a sense. Wow.
Yeah, don't mess with me.
They Live, best movie ever. John Carpenter's magnus opus. White lines in the middle of the road, that's the worst place to drive. You look like your face fell in the cheese dip. Put the glasses on! They Live, formaldehyde face. The fights. I'm tough stuff, I'm strong. I'm big, like Piper. I ain't daddy's little boy no more. Piper!
What's your problem?
One of the things that I find really fun about it is that it feels like it must have been campy right, like the moment it was made.
You look like your head fell in the cheese dip back in 1957.
And I mean, and really that there is a movie out there where a central part of the plot is putting on some sunglasses.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's the best. That's totally the best. Viva Video and Ardmore.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Yeah.
Like I'm all out of bubblegum. Not nice.
Yeah.
I ain't daddy's little boy. Bubblegum. That's like pouring perfume on a pig.
Mama don't like tattletale. Yeah.
Like I'm all out of bubblegum.
Yeah. Mama don't like
formaldehyde face.
Yeah.
That's enough out of you.
Okay, now that we are well into this movie, I'd like to take a pause and hear some comments from our audience. Audience, thoughts?
I hope that SYFY censors all the profanity, but not the 7 minutes of dick punching.
It was disturbing for me when the one adult man bit the other adult man.
That scene where he's rummaging through the trash? That's my life. That is my life.
There's another version of this movie where he puts on Oakleys and it just turns normal people into uncles who coach soccer.
If it's not the kind of love where she hits me with a bottle and pushes me out a window, I don't want it.
They Live is only one of many great films that deal with low-key alien invasions on Earth. So if you like movies like this, here's Bryan with a great suggestion for you to check out.
I'm probably one of the few people you'll ever meet who's actually an accredited source on the history of UFOs, so I can speak to this subject directly.
I've got one that can see.
Fire in the Sky, I guess if you're going by traditional UFO lore, it's the long game, which is basically they're trying to crossbreed and hybridize humans with aliens, based on the true case of Travis Walton, bringing him up inside the spaceship and conducting the most horrible possible experiments on him. They don't look precisely like the traditional gray aliens. They are a little bit more, well, to be perfectly honest, they kind of look like an upside-down nutsack. This is not another one where you're getting answers on why they're invading, just again, they want to probe your orify.
Stick around, there's more They Live coming up on Sci-Fi Wire's Midnight Rewind.
Generations are getting to enjoy They Live. Do you know anything about it?
Well, my mom told me Rowdy Piper's in it, so I was already interested.
You like Rowdy? This is probably the one that's like the first like vehicle for a wrestler. You know, it was definitely before like the Suburban Commandos, the Mr. Nannies.
Andre the Giant, Princess Bride.
It really has nothing to do with how good of an actual performer you are. It really is how can you pull the crowd in.
So we're here to talk about They Live. This movie is leveling a remarkably prescient criticism of a really simple capitalism and the way in which that capitalism and democracy in the United States are sort of interwoven.
Professor, you make some really touching points there. A lot of what you said carries a lot of weight and you know, frankly resonates with a lot of people in this room. But actually, what about that fight scene? Yeah! This is a gut-wrench suplex. Take that 2x4, break the back of the windshield. Flies over backwards behind me. And throw popcorn all over the room.
I'm here with They Live superfan and possible long-lost cousin Joe Moore to talk about some of the highlights of that breathtaking fight we just saw.
Thanks for having me, Whitney.
Joe, one of the most amazing things to me about this fight is that we not only get one, but we get 2 suplexes.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Another thing I'd like to point out is how insistent these two opponents are on ramming each other right in the nuts.
Oh, right you are, Joe. You know, it's normal for us to see 1, maybe 2 nut shots within a fight scene, but this is an impressive 6 nut shots, and that is truly something special. Frank, back to you.
Frank?
there no Frank?
There's no Frank.
Clearly there's no other fight quite like the Rowdy Roddy fight in They Live, but a few that I love are Deadly Prey. I mean, like, look at that cover. Like, it's the best, right? He runs around this movie without a shirt the whole time and little cutoff shorts. It's a man-hunting man picture, which, as we all know, is the greatest genre. He's like a Vietnam vet, I think, that gets kidnapped and sent to run off in the woods while people hunt him. The fight scene in this comes at the end. Spoiler, he rips off the guy's arm and beats him with his own arm. I mean, why all fight scenes don't end with that, I don't know, but in this one it does, and it's awesome. This fight scene in They Live, it's there because John Carpenter gotten Rowdy Roddy. The man, wrestles for his career, so it might as well have this very, like, wrestle move heavy fight. Another movie that kind of takes this same idea, but just runs with it in a crazy way would be Gymkata, which instead of a wrestler has a gymnast. So you get to see a man fight on a well that looks like a pommel horse. There'll be parallel bars set up in an alley, so bad guys will chase him. He'll grab it, do little spins, kick everybody off there. It's great. He's very good at kicking. Inspired by that epic fight scene, we will be doing some
wrestling.
There we go.
Take a look!
Bubblegum for all! Woo! Woo! Watch your heads! This gum is not soft!
City's crawling with cops.
You're never quite certain how aware the movie is of its camp level, which I think is one of its great strengths.
I mean, there's a guy uncovering an alien invasion, and to convince somebody else to wear a pair of sunglasses, they just keep ramming each other in the nuts over and over again.
I have a very strongly pacifistic background. There's a side of me that has problems with violence, and yet I liked the fight scene because it was so beautifully choreographed, and I love dance. I believe that all of us wear dark glasses of one sort or another. For me, I have on my pacifistic dark glasses, and I have to take them on and off while I'm watching the movie.
Whoa! Check this out! Movies! Oh, you get to take them home? All right, how does this work? Let's see. Put in the money. Why isn't it taking the money? Pick the thing first. Come on, come on. Wait a second. I knew it! Hey, why you gotta call me that? That doesn't mean.
Oh yeah? Well, Mama don't like impersonal interactions while trying to rent digital video media!
Suplex! I came here to chew bubblegum and have enlightened conversation about movies, and I'm all out of... Oop, no, I still have some bubblegum.
Give me my movie!
You still don't get it, do you, boys?
The world's gone crazy with another satire. Deborah Kaplan and Harry Alphonse, Josie and the Pussycats, one of the major American films of the 21st century. I'm sure I lost a lot of street cred just by saying that. The film, of course, follows the trio of rockers hired by a record company. They get a deal and slowly learn that there's sort of a They Live style conspiracy going on. Zeroes in on fanboy craze, consumer culture, product placement. I'm such a big fan of this movie that I'm going to dorkily admit that I own the soundtrack on vinyl. You even get a 7-inch with the du jour tracks. Hopefully you all check them out, and please send your hate mail to Viva Video.
They Live doesn't feel like anybody else's movie. You're not gonna confuse it for something else. It's got memorable imagery throughout. Those aliens have their own like real vibe.
It almost lets me forgive Carpenter for misusing the PKE meter prop from Ghostbusters.
I think of you every time I watch it. When I see them bust that out in the hallways.
I mean, for the love of God. Ghostbusters was the most successful movie from 1984, and only 4 years later, you're like, you know what, let's just use this iconic prop from this movie. Completely wrong.
To be here is just, I can't explain it as anything other than a nerd den. It's just like, there are nerds and they are here. When you showed me when you redid the sci-fi section, I was like, wow, like, Bryan's my friend. Bryan is my nerd friend. This is a nerd who can nerd out with me and I can nerd out with him.
Am I mistaken, or did she just say I'm a role model? That sounded like she was saying I'm a role model.
Now, I think one of the things that's very interesting, and I was inspired by your points, is how in the fight scene, you can really tell that Nada wants to get the character Frank to put the glasses on. His method of doing this at one point is to take him by the head and slam the back of his head into the pavement repeatedly. Whoa. I mean, if you were paying attention during the fight scene and didn't tune out because it didn't have words like inspirational and sophistication and global economy, blah, 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 blah.
I'll be honest, during the fight scene, I went and got popcorn because I gotta be ready for the rest of the movie.
Oh, so you don't even know! Oh, I can't wait to show you this fight scene, because in a way, isn't the fight scene a microcosm of the rest of the movie? Frank's reluctance to put the glasses on mirrors every other character's reluctance to face the truth. And it's gotta be beaten, pounded into him over and over again, and then eventually he puts it on, and what? He realizes the truth. Fight scene!
Do you find it scary?
I'm not scared anymore, and the reason I'm not scared of horror movies anymore is when you get to be old like me, what you're facing in life is way more scary than horror films.
Actual death, big
yes.
worse than any watermelons turning into heads.
When you feel things in your body aren't working the way they used to, it's the horror films just don't seem quite as bad. And I think laughing about this or having that sort of vicarious experience is a good thing. And it's just, at my time of life, I want to absorb as much as I can because I feel, time is limited and I want to learn as much as I can and enjoy things as much as I can and experiment with things. And what was so great about this store is I never would have imagined that at the age of 72, I would be watching slasher films.
I would never have imagined it either. House is one of those where you watch it and you're like, there's a lot more to this world than I usually see and that I usually think about. And I mean, that's the best feeling in the world. That is, definitely part of what I love here too. Tons of times I still love it. I hope you guys loved it as much as I did. Yeah. Many of you, yes. Yeah. Bryan, I did see him laugh at least twice very heartily, so I'm feeling.
You're just sitting here watching me watch the movie.
I absolutely am.
This is freaking creepy. I can feel your eyes on me.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs up, yay! Woo! Oh, I'm elated.
I was not quite sure what to anticipate, but I quite like what I saw.
Absurdity is the real spice of life anyway.
I wish that the great American poet Robert Frost had been alive to see this film.
Every time I see it, I get even more out of it.
Oh,
was not a fan, actually.
It's a movie that needs to be shared, so it was great to share it with everyone.
The cat was amazing. I would love to know more about the cat, like where'd she come from? Does she have other work? Was it one cat? Did they have a lot of cats that looked alike? How'd they get it to play the piano? I have a lot of questions about the cat. She was incredible.
We were also talking about like which house girl we would be. I think
Yeah.
I would be fantasy.
Yeah, I think I'd be sweet. I'm always cleaning.
Yeah, my head's always in the clouds.
And I'm always cleaning.
The most important part is that it plays by its own rules. So it falls into that camp of something like Eraserhead, where like, you know what's going on is surreal and completely off the wall, but like, as long as it continues to stay true to what it's been doing from like pretty much the start of the movie, from what the setup is, then it's completely enjoyable to me.
It's just, you know, a miracle that this thing actually got made.
I
Just
can't.
in the
Yeah,
way
I mean,
it
like,
is.
can you imagine like seeing that in the theater? Like, I mean, I can't.
All right. So, did you enjoy it? Was that what you all wanted? Yeah. Awesome. So now that we've had this beautiful, beautiful evening of watching, we will end with one more exciting surprise. We're gonna take off and enjoy a little bubblegum ice cream next door, guys. Let's go! All right. Everybody out, let's go! All right. Yeah. Bubblegum ice cream. Sweet. They live. What you think? You like it?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Fight scene's a little long.
As sure as cherries were made for eating, and fish were made to swim in the sea, you were made to be loved a lot by nobody else but me. By nobody else but me. By nobody else but me.